Yeah, right, hit him now.
Unmanned area vehicles, or UAVs, have been widely used in the theatre of war, with the United States at the forefront of this pioneering technology. These drones were first used for reconnaissance missions, but were quickly weaponised by the US military. The most well-known drone being the MQ-1 Predator, which was first used over Afghanistan in 2001 against the Taliban. This technology has since become part of pop culture, appearing in best-selling books, films and video games. However, the use of drones by civilians is limited to hobbyist activities. Any commercial use of drones is banned for security reasons, with operators in the US facing fines of up to $10,000. Here in Australia, we are leading the way for the rest of the world in the commercial UAV industry, which has grown exponentially over the last few years. This is due in part to the lack of restrictions surrounding UAV usage.
Ever since I was a kid, wanted to fly. Couldn't think of anything else I wanted to do more than flying. As I grew up, I got into IT, basically because I couldn't afford to get flying lessons. My parents really didn't think flying was a great idea. So after 10 years in IT, I got into photography. Photography was fantastic. I did a lot of triathlons over in Canberra. Did a lot of photography for the triathlons as well. And at the same time, I was flying model aircraft. So then one day I decided to learn to fly real aircraft and got my private pilot's license. And then I put all those three passions into one. I had a fantastic idea of mounting a camera to a helicopter and taking photos. And that's how I started COPTERCAM.
The issue of invasion of privacy has shrouded the UAV industry in controversy. The recent discovery of the US government using reconnaissance drones to spy on the civilian population has pushed the issue in the world media spotlight. Although in Australia, the Civil Aviation Security Authority has laid down strict guidelines to ensure the safety of the UAV operators and the public, there are not yet any guidelines to ensure that these machines are used in an ethical manner. We asked members of the public what they thought of the increase of UAV technology being used in public spaces.
Well, you know, the fact that they can use it for anything, I think, you know, people aren't necessarily aware that people are watching it, you know, all the time. So I guess the fact that they can look into anything and use it is kind of daunting in a way.
It's kind of creepy.
Creepy? So do you feel it's an invasion of privacy?
Yes, I think so, yeah.
At the moment, there are no privacy laws that affect what we do, but obviously the consumers or the public, they are obviously concerned about privacy. I get a lot of questions about privacy from the media all the time, but to put it simple, we support privacy. We believe that everyone is entitled to their own privacy. In fact, as a commercial operator, there is no commercial driver for us to invade anyone's privacy. We're too busy shooting a house that's for sale or a TV commercial to be peering in anyone's backyard.
How can these drones help?
Witness crimes, that sort of thing. So if they're recording and that sort of jazz, if anything happens on the street when people think no one's looking, then they're pretty much screwed because that's got it on tape.
No, I think from a female's perspective, it's actually perfectly fine. I feel very comfortable with the fact that we're being videoed as we're wandering about. I mean, if we've got, if we're not doing anything wrong, then we've got nothing to hide.
Also for almost removing the larger helicopters. So is there something there? Is it stealing people's jobs or anything like that? Or?
To a point, but obviously everything. If it can be improved, then why not improve it? Obviously, there's still going to be jobs created in controlling, like gliding and all that sort of thing. So it's just sort of taking a job out of another area, creating one in another spot. So obviously if you can improve it, then there's no real reason not to make it better.
And what do you think could be some other positive applications for using aerial drones?
Well, I guess, yeah, like you said, sort of location, finding people who are in distress, it could be a bit more efficient than other means which are sort of exist at the moment, I guess.
The search and rescue stuff's very interesting because it really hasn't been done before. So what we found out about a missing hiker in the snowy mountains about 4 weeks after he went missing. When the family contacted us, the police had given up their search. They'd used hikers to search the ground. They had flown helicopters in and planes in, but they'd given up their search. So we volunteered our services using one of our mapping drones. The idea was that if we could capture photos at mapping quality, then offline people could actually search for that person in a photo. And the photo is geo-referenced, so it's geo-tagged. So that basically means that the photo is linked to a location, which then you can send someone to help that person on. So it was a novel idea. We deployed 4 weeks after the person went missing. It was unfortunate because the police didn't actually contact us when the person went missing. So it was a very challenging operation in terms of there wasn't much probability of survival. But we found a new use for something that was actually not planned for.
Clearly, we're only just scratching the surface of the possible applications of UAV technology. Drones are being used in an ever-growing range of industries, from video coverage of sporting events to crop management in agriculture. It's hard to see where the technology will take us. All we can really do is simply try and keep up and hope the technology will be used to benefit mankind.